Hello there. Good to see you again. Well, it's that time again. It's time to turn yourself into a creative genius with this lot. Here's a handy way of making a decorative piece of art. And check out a way to make your writing really mega. And a big art attack that you wouldn't want to get too close to. If I said to you, I'm now going to introduce you to a string band, what would you say? I thought so. Well, here's a string band you will like. Cue the music, cue the lights, and cue the band. Cool or what? Yep, it's a string puppet band. A string band that rocks. And simple to make in 4 easy parts, a 4-part attack. To make the Guitar Man, first make all the non-moving parts of your puppet. So start by scrunching up some newspaper into an oval ball shape for a body, add a tiny piece of newspaper to the top for a neck, then a small ball for a head. The arm holding the neck of the guitar isn't going to move, so for that make a thin newspaper twist and bend it just to make an elbow. The hand is a small square of newspaper with 5 small twists of newspaper for fingers. Place this at the end of the arm in a kind of upward position like this. 2 fatter newspaper sausages make good legs, bending them in the middle again to make knees. And to make feet, cut ovals out of cardboard box card and pad them out on one side, but only tape on the one opposite the arm because this is the only foot that isn't moving. Then tape everything into position. So now you should have something that looks like this, a man with 1 foot and 1 arm missing. And as you can see, I've used lots of tape to keep everything firmly in place, and I've even padded out the bottom of his legs to give him flared trousers. So now you have to make the moving parts to your puppet. To make the moving arm, you'll need a drinking straw and a piece of string that's about the same length. Cut a couple of centimetres off one end of the straw, you don't need that bit, and then cut this piece in 2. Wrap some newspaper around the straw pieces to pad them out a bit, and make sure you don't cover up those ends. Then tape one end of the string to the shoulder of your man and thread on the 2 padded straws to make an arm. Now this can be a bit tricky, but just thread the string through carefully, like that. Then make a second hand in the same way as before and tape it to one end of the string, leaving the string slack enough to move freely. See that? For the second moving foot, cut a length of string that's about the same length as the foot and tape one end to the bottom of the leg and the other end to the top part of the foot. And again, leave enough slack for the foot to move. And it doesn't matter if the arms are a bit long and out of proportion, it all adds to the comedy effect. And I think he's ready for his guitar now. Now you can copy the shape of a guitar out of a magazine, or you can look on the internet and then draw and cut one out from cardboard box card like this, and then just stick it into position on his front and onto his hand like that, and you can tape that into place. Looking good so far. Now let's strengthen the whole thing up with a layer of glue. But before you do that, there's one more thing to do. Cut 3 lengths of cotton that is about as long as your arm and tape 1 to the moving hand, 1 to the arm, just below the elbow joint, and 1 to the top of the tapping foot. Then paste a layer of PVA glue all over your Guitar Man. And the idea is to seal over the joint where the thread is taped, but be careful not to glue over the string joints. When it's dry, the PVA will have made everything really solid and you can paint him however you like. How about blue jeans and a brown jacket? And when you finish painting him and he's dry, you'll have something like this. And I've added on some detail in black pen. I've glued on some bits of brown wool for long hair, and I've even put on a bit of ribbon there for a guitar strap. See that? Good, isn't it? Now all that's left to do is make him move, and for that, you're going to need a coat hanger. Put your hanger on the back of a chair or desk and stand the puppet on the floor below it. Attach the string from the foot first. This will be the longest. With the foot flat on the ground, hold the string up until it becomes taut, and when it reaches the hanger, wrap it round. Then tape it on and cut off any excess thread. Next, attach the elbow thread, hold the arm out at an angle like this, and as before, tape it to the hanger when the thread is taut. The best position for the hand is when it's over the guitar strings. And again, tape the string to your hanger.
And the great thing about these puppets is you don't need to be a great puppeteer. You just have to rock. Simply grab your coat hanger and rock it backwards and forwards and watch them go. And they look good if you rock them to music. And you could make the whole band in the same way. There we go. How about a singer? He's got a microphone stand instead of a guitar, and the drummer is sitting down on a stool, and his drums are made from a crisp tube covered with paper drum skins and painted. Try it yourself, your own string band. A rock band, of course. Here's a really easy way to create big, bold lettering for posters and for the front of your books. Create mega words. Watch this. Start in pencil as a guide, and the idea is to do some chunky block lettering. Just keep it nice and simple and nice and thick and square. Now I'm just doing this in pencil as a guide. And if you're not too sure how to do block lettering, just do normal letters, like this. and then simply thicken them up. So just start with your normal letters, and then look at this. Draw around the outside of them.
Just fattening up the letters, going round my guide.
And you see, I'm doing this nice and lightly, just as a rough guide. And with a bit of practice, you'll be able to do them straight off. And when you're happy with the rough guide, go over it in pen.
Just keep to those lines.
And when you've done all the letters and the ink is dry, rub out those pencil guidelines, and there you'll have your chunky lettering. Now to turn your chunky lettering into a mega word. Just put a dot above the middle of your word, about the same distance above the word as the height of each of those letters. Then join all of those top corners of your letters to the dot. So just pick out the corners and find the dot. Now I'm going to use a ruler for this. You can do it freehand if you're feeling brave, but I'm not. And it looks really good when you get these real straight lines. Just all those top corners going up to that dot. And then, when you've done all your top corners, go down and do the bottom corners. But whatever you do, don't go over any of the lettering itself. Just aim those bottom corners up to that dot. And look what happens. You start to get these really long, everlasting letters that look as if they're going off into the distance. Then shade down the sides of the letters, and look what happens. You start to create these gullies and canyons. It's like valleys down the side of the letters. And when you finish your shading, the letters create these mega words, just like the ones you get on the opening titles of movies or on movie posters. Good effect, isn't it? And so easy to do. And you can colour them in and experiment with lots of different styles. You could place the dot lower, but still shade down the sides. You can place the dot off to one side. You can place the dot underneath the letters, and it looks like they're bursting off the page over your head. And with a bit of practice, you can even do curved lines going to the dot. Try it yourself. Put a dot above your chunky letters and join them to the dot to create mega words. Do you know what? People sometimes say to me, hey, Neil, give us one tip to make my artwork a lot better. You know what I would say? Develop your own individual style. You want to see individual style? In the Art Attack Gallery. It's your Art Attacks, and they're brilliant. Take a look at these. I love this face that Archie's made. He's created it by only using paper pieces, either glued down flat or twisted into shapes. Brilliant. And this is a great painting of a chicken, Oliver. I particularly like the way the watery paints have created the impression of green grass in the foreground and blue sky in the background. And Joe's piece is very surreal. It looks as if it could be some sort of alien landscape with those big tall columns and a big pool of yellow lava. And I think the bright acrylic paint she's used really add to its dramatic impact. Yeah, fantastic art attack by Joe, all done in acrylic paints. Now, I love acrylic paints because they come in really bold, bright colours and they go on really thick. And you see me use a lot of these on Art Attack because they're brilliant for painting papier-mâché models. In fact, they're brilliant on anything, even material and cloth, because when it's dry, it goes waterproof. But what if you haven't got any acrylic paint? What if you've only got poster paint? Well, not to worry, because here's a trick I can show you. If you take your ordinary poster paint and add some PVA glue to it, not too much, and it goes like that, no water or anything. If you mix them together, the paint goes really thick, just like acrylic, and when you paint with it, it goes on nice and thick, just like acrylic. And when it dries, it's also totally waterproof. Brilliant. So where were we?
Oh yes, nice one, Joe. Now in this picture, Tom's used an inspired technique for colouring in. Using the edge of his chalk pastel, he's created wide strips of colour on the hills. Nice idea, Tom. And Emma's made her bright little art attack out of feathers and coloured wool. And I think it shows just how much it pays to experiment with your art materials. And this is a beautiful drawing by Aisha. She's coloured her hand in bright decorative colours and patterns to give it a real ethnic look.
Yeah, great hand painting, Aisha. Hey, now that reminds me of an ancient tradition that they have in India. They paint beautiful decorative patterns, usually on the hands or feet of a bride, using a special kind of dye called henna. It's given me a great idea for a piece of 3D sculpture using this stuff, air drying clay. And the idea is to break off a piece that's about the size of a tennis ball.
Roll it out onto a plastic bag with a rolling pin until it's large enough to place your hand on. Don't make it too thin, about 1 centimetre thick would be good. Then place the hand that you don't draw with in the middle, and with your fingers together and using a sharp pencil or cocktail stick, carefully draw around your hand. Then take your hand away and cut out the shape using a plastic knife to get a hand shape. Then define the fingers by drawing lines with your pencil. Then start to design your pattern by drawing into the clay. Wavy lines and dots are good. And you can experiment by using different tools. This ballpoint pen makes larger, deeper dots. And how about pressing in a lolly stick to make short lines? Or even a cocktail stick for tiny dots. You could even open out a paper clip for curvy bits. Just press it in the same way. This is great fun to do, and you can experiment using lots of different things to press into your clay and make different patterns. And when you finish your design, leave it overnight to dry. Then it'll be rock solid and ready to paint. Now to make the design stand out, take a small brush and paint a dark colour in all the holes and lines. And when this is dried, paint over the whole hand with a bigger brush using lighter colours and not too much paint. Keep the brush quite dry so you don't fill in the design too much. And use lots of different bright colours.
And when you finish painting it and it's dry, you'll have something that looks like this. And I've even given this a coat of PVA glue because when it dries, it goes clear and shiny and toughens the clay up too. And I think they look great as a piece of sculpture. Just place it somewhere around the house and you can do as many as you like. Just experiment with different patterns and different colours, and they all look absolutely brilliant. Try it yourself. Painted hands.
Cool TVO Kids crew. All right, it's Brain Week until tomorrow being Friday. Mark and I have been playing brainy games with you, and it's been a lot of fun. We got another spinning of the brain game wheel, and Miriam is on the phone. Hi there, Miriam.
Hi.
Hi. Which way do you want me to spin the brain game wheel? Counterclockwise like that or clockwise like that?
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise.